Thanks for tuning in to the Real Women Chronicles podcast. I am your international certified life coach, Tiaudra Taylor. The sole purpose of this podcast is to get you from where you are now to where you want to be. Yes, it's time to break chains and to get unstuck. Thanks again for joining in. Let's begin. Hello. Thank you for joining in for another episode of Real Women Chronicles. I am your host, Certified Life Coach Tiaudra Taylor. Thanks again for joining in. If you are new to my podcast, please be sure to subscribe to my podcast channel. I promise you, God is doing some major things on this podcast, and I'm just glad that I'm a vessel and He is using me, and I'm dropping free knowledge, y'all. So I just pray that it will motivate you or someone you know. So definitely subscribe, like, comment, send me your questions. I'll give you my email at the end of today's podcast if need be, and I will try to address as many as I can. So let's jump into today's podcast. I'm excited about today's podcast because it's a question that many single women or women that are in a relationship ask themselves often, and that's whether or not a man truly loves you. And I've been one to ask that question in previous relationships, and I've just come from experience more than anything to learn that anytime you have to question whether or not someone loves you, it raises issue for concern, right? Because love should never be something that's questionable, and that's whether it's on the receiving or giving end of it. Anytime you have to really question whether you love someone or whether or not someone truly loves you, something is off in that relationship. Majority of the time, you're questioning this because of three major reasons. One of those reasons could be that you don't feel as though you're worth being loved. So because of your feeling of unworthiness, you often question the love of others. You don't feel like you're worth the treatment that they're giving you. You don't feel like they're going to be consistent long enough, and you just don't feel like you deserve it because it could be foreign to you. You haven't felt a love that was true and authentic previously. Another reason that you could be questioning whether or not somebody loves you is because the person you're with is exhibiting a form of love in which you don't recognize. Okay? And so one thing that we have to always understand is that everybody loves differently. So it's important that you find the one who loves like you love. They don't have to be a mirror image of you, but their perception of love definitely needs to be similar to yours, because some people feel like, hey, if I cheat on my wife or my significant other on a regular basis, it doesn't matter because I still love them. But for instance, my definition of love would be loyalty, it would be consistency and things like that. So me and a person that finds cheating and love interchangeable probably wouldn't work out. So again, one of those reasons could be that you're not recognizing the type of love that they're giving. And of course, last but not least, they simply just don't love you at all. And that's why you're questioning it, because in your instincts, you know that this is not a form of love. This is a fraudulent relationship, and you may need to move on. So I'm going to jump into 10 questions that you want to ask yourself in a relationship when it comes to whether or not a man truly loves you. I want you to put these at the top of your list and answer these questions when you're going into that relationship and you have someone who's claiming that they love you or someone that's showing that they love you. I mean, everybody's not raised to verbalize love. Some people are uncomfortable with it, but they're good at showing it. So I'm going to jump right in. Listen, number one, does his actions show that he loves you? Love is an action word. I've said this in previous podcasts. So if the actions are those of love and, care and comfort and consistency, that's a great thing. But if his actions are showing otherwise, it's potentially not love at all. Okay, number 2, is he consistent? Any man who truly loves you is going to try to be as consistent as possible. He wants to show you that he loves you. He wants to show you that he's dependable. He wants to show you these things. Now, granted, no man is perfect. So sometimes they can have issues with being consistent for different reasons that are unrelated to his lack of love. But for argument's sake, I'm going to say that in my personal experience, when a man truly loved me, he was consistent. He sent that text message every day. He made sure he called me every night, and I was never forgotten. And I think that's important to recognize in somebody who's claiming that they love you. Okay. Number 3, does he keep his word? Okay. My dad always told me this. All a man has is his word. And let me tell you something about a man. If he truly, truly loves you, he's going to keep his word to the best of his ability. If he says that he's going to do something, your love is going to motivate him to want to do it. The love that he has for you, will motivate him to want to do it. Now, if he doesn't truly love you, he could be just selling you pipe dreams on a regular basis and not coming through with his word and giving you all these excuses as to why he's not doing it. And the truth is, he may think he loves you, but he doesn't truly love you. Okay, number 4, does he think of you last? Okay, any man who truly loves you, you're not going to be last on his list. He's going to think of you quite often throughout his day. I don't care how busy he is. He will always make time for the things and the people that he loves. Okay, so if he's thinking of you last in every situation, you're the last person he tells his great news to. You're the last person he makes time for. You may want to question whether or not he truly loves you and whether or not it's worth investing any more of your time. Okay? Number 5, love will at times involve sacrifice. So you want to ask yourself, has he made any sacrifices for you? Has he, stopped talking to other women? Is he coming in early, or is he just changing his life around in a sense to accommodate how you feel? If he is, that is a true sign of love. That is him showing you that I'm here from you, and whatever it needs to happen in the relationship, I'm open to making sacrifices. If he is not making sacrifices and he wants you to make all the sacrifices, he could be in a sense in a narcissistic situation. You could be in a narcissistic situation where it's all about him and less about you. And in that case, no, you wouldn't be dealing with someone who truly loves you. You'd be dealing with someone who probably truly loves themselves. Okay. Number 6, check your level of self-love. You can only attract what you are. Okay. And the reason why I put this on the list, because this is so important, it's less about him in this question and more about you. Okay. Because let's just be honest. If you have low self-esteem, if you think low of yourself, you're probably going to attract people that feel the same way about you. Rarely are you going to attract people who are going to really, truly build you up. Sometimes we're lucky, but energy attracts like energy. So if you have low self-esteem, if you don't find yourself super attractive and super worthy, then you'll probably be attracting people who feel the same way. And in doing so, you'll probably attract men who don't truly love you. Okay? Number 7, someone who loves you correctly will not continuously hurt you. Let me say this again so you can get it, okay? Someone who loves you correctly will not continuously hurt you, okay? There is no way I could truly love someone wholeheartedly and watch them cry and watch them upset on a continuously basis over the things that I'm doing to them. And there's no way that would show true love. And if there is a man out there who is constantly hurting you, constantly upsetting you, constantly disappointing you, you may want to ask yourself this very question: does he truly love me? Or am I just a seasonal relationship for him that he's just utilizing for his benefit, and eventually he'll dispose of me? Okay. Number 8, does the love leave you feeling depleted? Okay. Love is a powerful, powerful term that many people use, and sometimes they use it lightly, because I can give you love, but I shouldn't feel depleted from giving you that love. If I'm feeling depleted from giving you that love, then 9 times out of 10, I'm pouring into you more than you're pouring into me. So if loving this person makes you feel depleted on a regular basis, you're tired, you're emotionally drained from trying to love them and show them that you're loving them, you're probably giving more than they're willing to give to you. And you're probably carrying the whole entire relationship. And I would have to say again, this would be a situation where he probably does not love you, especially as much as you probably love him. Okay, let's move on to number 9. Can you be yourself around this person, or do you find yourself conforming into that person that they want you to be? That's important in any love relationship, because love should promote authenticity. It should make you feel like you can be yourself, you can be goofy, you can be silly, you can be flawed, and you should still feel love. And sometimes when we're in a relationship, we don't realize that we conform for so long that we actually start to forget who we actually are. And sometimes we do that for the sake of love. Okay, he doesn't like women who curse. He doesn't like women who smoke. He doesn't like women who do that, this and that. And you try to be what he wants you to be. The trouble with that is, I will stand by this until the day I die. I don't believe that you could authentically attract someone who truly loves you, because first of all, they don't really know you to love you. And the reason why they don't know you is because you've conformed into what they want you to be. You're not who God intended you to be. And that will always create a problem in the long term. I'm not saying you can't go into a relationship and sacrifice and for the better. Of course, there are relationships that come. My husband constantly stretches me to just be more, to have more faith, to be more patient, because Lord knows he has the patience of Jesus Christ himself. And I thank him for that, and I admire him for that. So if a person is stretching you to be better, then that's always a great thing. But if you're feeling like you have to constantly be somebody that you're not when you're around them, that is not love. It's not going to breed love. If anything, it's going to breed bitterness. Okay. Lastly, number 10. Okay. If a man truly loves you, your happiness is important and somehow tied to his own. I cannot stress this enough. There have been relationships that I've personally been in where if I'm upset, he could care less. He's still going to have a great day. He's going to do what he needs to do. He's not worried about what I'm upset about. He actually probably doesn't want to hear about it, but yet he's claiming he loves me. That's not a man who loves you, because a man whose soul is truly connected to yours, he is going to feel what you feel. He's going to be a bit of an empath. When you're hurting and you're upset, a man comes and he wants to make it right. A man who loves you, of course, he wants to make it right. He wants to make sure, even if it's out of his control, he just wants to be there for you, to console you, to see that you're doing better, because he's not going to be happy until you are happy. Remember that. So if a man truly loves you, your happiness is always going to be tied to his own. Okay? In closing, I want to say this, guys. Always remember that there's a difference between someone professing their love for you and someone who is actually practicing their love for you. Big difference. Love requires action. Someone who constantly says that they love you every day and they're not practicing that love every day could potentially not love you. And again, like I said at the beginning, if you find yourself constantly questioning the relationship, constantly questioning whether or not this person loves you, it's a huge red flag. And majority of the time, I'm going to be straightforward. that person probably doesn't love you, or you somehow don't love yourself.